Well, welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2005 here in TW 2020, and maybe you can tell, but maybe you can't, but this is a new mic, so if anything's too weird, let me know, but I think I did some testing and I sound pretty much the same, slightly better, at least I hope so. But yeah, sorry for the slight delay on stuff, basically, weird holiday week plus other stuff going on, no big deal, but this stuff happens, again, not making any money off this, so I'm trying to get stuff, as consistently as I can, but these weeks are going to happen, especially when other stuff is going on. But regardless, let's get rolling. So we now for the go home shows for WrestleWar, which is of course is a Nitro pay-per-view. So this is an official go home show. Revolution is going to be its own thing. But let's get started. As the announcers put over that in our opening, along with the big 8-man tag involving contenders for U.S. title and the Chosen Few and Brother Ray. It's also going to be a huge main event as Sean O'Haire and Kanyon team up to take on Eddie Guerrero and Jonathan Toro in our main event tonight, along with a sit-down interview with WCW World Champion Rob Van Dam. So let's get to 74 as we move forward. And about the other ring, we have a big opening Cruiserweight match as we have Prince O'Haire versus Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn gets to play the veteran babyface, going back and forth with O'Haire. O'Haire, cheats, does some quick moves, some quick strikes to take the advantage. Jerry Lynn fires back. Lynn late goes for the cradle power driver. O'Haire gets out of it. Eventually hits a low blow, rolls Lynn in a crucifix, holds the ropes, and gets a pinfall victory in a little under 11 minutes. And a huge victory for O'Haire over Jerry Lynn here on Nitro in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as this gets a 62. O'Haire gets a 60, Jerry Lynn gets a 52. Solid stuff, and yeah, O'Haire's decently getting there, and Lynn's doing his job. Again, I haven't really signed Lynn to an exclusive written deal. He's just sort of here to make up the numbers, and we'll see what he can do otherwise. So Lynn rolls out, and then O'Haire invites Ela Skipper down to the ring. And, Ela Skipper's like, what do you want? I earned my shot against Saito, and there's nothing you can do about it. And O'Haire says, I have defeated a former ECW World Champion. And Skipper says, what does that matter? But I realize you will not accept that. But in order for me to get into the Cruiserweight title match at WrestleWar, I'm not offering you some of the finest women in all of Guyana, but a very special financial incentive that the athletes such as yourself will enjoy. And we see O'Haire handing Skipper, handing one of the people at ringside, the ring announcer or whoever, a piece of paper. Skipper takes it and says, "Okay, fine, I agree. You can get into the match at WrestleWar can be a triple threat match, but I'm not going to be soft on you. If I can pin you to take my title back, that's fine. But regardless, I'm going to be on the highlighter once again. And in 6 days, I'm going to put somebody in the overdrive, become the Cruiserweight champion." Prince O'Haire says, "That's all I want. There's a chance to compete and prove that as a prince, I can be true royalty in professional wrestling." So decent stuff. Skipper was bad here, but this still gets a 46 and officially sets up the Cruiserweight title match at WrestleWar as a triple threat match. And then we go backstage where Jason Jett walks into the Chosen Few, locker room, and basically goes up to each minute and compliments them, sort of backhandedly. First he goes up to Mark and Jack, says, "We both were TV champions. Of course, I was actually a successful TV champion. Well, nobody even remembers it since you're not part of this group. But we're both we're part of the same fraternity, right?" And Divine says, "Well," and he goes up to Divine and says, "Look, if you weren't doing whatever Jeff says, I'm sure you could be Cruiserweight champion like I was. Not as good. And of course, you guys maybe will be tag champs, but again, I carry a team to the tag team championship." And he goes over to Jeff and says, "Jeff, I got a lot of respect for you. Sure, you've been you need my help to get a big win against Brother Ray and his buddies tonight. But you're a great wrestler, even if you always choke at the last second." And George says, "Look, slap nuts. You can say whatever you want, but we have three of the finest athletes in professional wrestling today, and you're a guy dressed like a Jim Dale's dancer. Yeah, you were TV champion before, but you're not that any longer. We are future champions, and you're hanging on to us tonight. So do your work and go after your opponent, but do not get in our way, slapnuts, or you'll become just no victim of the Chosen Few, just like Brother Ray, Tajiri, and Chavo will be as well." Jerk stares him down, and Divine, sort of because he also can attack, but then he doesn't make sense, and he's like, "Look, guys, Jeff, Mark, Jet's great. He's he likes to talk smack. No big deal. Look, I've been out with him. We had a good time. We can work together, okay?" And Jarrett's like, "Look, I don't care. We're a team. Tonight, all four of us are going to kick some ass and prove to a putz like Brother Wright, who shouldn't even be in this business, and his buddies, that this is our show, no matter what. And, Jett agrees and, says, this team, all of us are money. So 83, decent promo. Again, little to get Jett over and set up that's a big 8-man tag later tonight. So there we go, as we move forward. To a complete squash as Don Frye kills Aaron Stevens in like 3 minutes. Like, this is just a complete squash. Like, Don Frye kicking the crowd if you eat this poor jobber, who we might know as somebody in the future, and just like locks him in a sleeper eventually and makes him tap out, and that's it. So this gets a 56. Don Frye gets an 85. Aaron Stevens gets a 10 because, well, it's Aaron Stevens before he did anything. Savage did good work at ringside, and pretty good stuff here. So it was a great chemistry. What, Stevens would have got like a 6 without the chemistry? Okay, sure. Anyway, of course, afterwards, Randy Savage takes the mic as Don Frye is doing his Don Frye stuff in the background, and he says, 6 more days until the myth of Goldberg, dies at WrestleWar once and for all. For nearly a decade, you've told me all along how you're some instant heel killer. You will beat anybody who puts in front of you. Oh yeah, the man, right? That's what people call you. No. This is the man right here. And they will end Goldberg forever. After WrestleWar, Goldberg, you're not going to be the man anymore. You're not being Goldberg. You're just going to be Bill. Dig it. And he walks away with Don Frye as he understood over. It's going to be one of Goldberg's toughest competitors against an MMA legend in the form of Don Frye, as this gets an 81. Solid stuff. And then we go backstage where we have Brother Ray, Alex Wright, Chavo Junior, and Tajiri all being, all backstage. And, Alex Wright and Chavo, give each other a big hug. There's a little mutual admiration society. Chavo, thanks Tori. Tori immediately tries to do some prioritized mission, and Brother Ray steps in and says, look, lady, you help them, but we're fighters, and we can do this ourselves. But, Chavo was like, no, look, man, I get it. Like, you're used to women being nothing but accoutrements and people for you to attack in front of a couple thousand mutants. Nothing against that. Like, I'm not putting that down. That's what we're used to. But look, Tori helped us win tag team championships when nobody gave us a chance. Thought we were just some thrown together team of 2 guys who didn't know any better. And we're going to be stuck in the middle. But she helped us out. She can help us out tonight. Brother Ray says, you're right. And a couple years ago, I just would have been putting her through a table. But she helped you guys out, and I respect you as fighters, so let's do this. And Tajiri's just backstage, in the back doing Tajiri stuff. And tonight, along with her, we're going to show the chosen few a thing or two about fighting, about surviving the streets and kicking some ass. There you go, 72, decent stuff, putting together Alex and Chavo back as a team, at least for tonight. Brother Ray, alluding to his past, but also making him a babyface and putting over Tori a bit as well. So there you go, fun stuff. And then we have Matt Sydal going into the locker room, not locker room, but Eric Bischoff's office. And he's like, why did you allow the triple threat match? And Eric Bischoff is like, because you've already defeated Elix Skipper, and yes, you have to defeat Jose, and defeat both of them. And at pay-per-views, we need big matches that have not happened before. And Cruiserweight defense against 2 of the top Cruiserweights is a big match, and more importantly, if you win it, you have accomplished your goal of being one of the top Cruiserweights in the world. That's along with just being the champion. Sydal's a little worried, a little meh about it, but he agrees and says, I don't care how many people are put in front of me, I'm still going to walk out WrestleWar as the champion. And as Sydal walks away, we see a rather large suitcase that seems to be stuffed with money inside Bischoff's office. Remember, Bischoff is a face, but he's still Eric Bischoff. And yeah, that officially makes the match for WrestleWar. Just so it's in here as a pre-booking. Matt Sydal, Prince Osei, Elix Skipper for the Cruiserweight Championship. Where is it? There we go. And let's get to 57 because, well, it's Matt Sydal. Not exactly the most charismatic guy in the universe. And then we have an interesting match as we have sort of a preview of the Mesias Raven match at the pay-per-view, as is Mesias versus the Seekers of Sin. And, at the first, Seekers of Sin are brawling with Mesias, and they have the advantage to get 2-on-1. Eventually, Mesias throws Rush out of the ring and goes to work on Killswitch, throwing around, hitting a big choke slam, hitting a big boot, and even looked like he's going for a crucifix powerbomb. Eventually, Killswitch comes back in, and it's going to be a 2-on-1 again. But Morningstar comes in and actually pulls now Rothschild out of the ring and nails him with the chair while the ref is distracted. But again, Mesias is, going on the offense again, when Raven simply comes in and just drills him with a chair, and then, as he's down, he pulls out a bag. And out of that bag, he has what looks like a ceremonial bowl, and he pours some sort of liquid over Mesias. As obviously, Sigerson already queued, and Mesias wins the match, but it looks like he may lose the war here. As this gets a 70, Mesias gets a 79, Rothschild gets a 37, Killswitch gets a 42. Rothschild's gimmick is getting stale. I'll have to note that to myself to actually fix it. And then, after the match, Raven rolls out of the ring, cackling, as he does, as an evil mastermind, as Mesias convulses, at least the best he can, and Morningstar gets in the ring and basically starts yelling what is probably just gibberish, but is what we're saying in terms of incantation to try to settle Mesias down, as eventually the officials come down to the ring, and Morningstar Electra pushes them away, even something on a stretcher, before Mesias finally recovers and sits up with a scary look in his eyes once again. As he actually put over, Raven is trying to break the hold Morningstar has on Mesias, but even with the hold broken, Mesias could still be very dangerous to Raven. So this gets an 84, and yes, look, it's wrestling. You have to have a certain amount of wacky angles, and this is sort of my home for wacky angles, at least on this show. And then, speaking of somewhat wacky angles, we have Shane Helms and Titus Comco on the ranch. And, basically they're on some ranch that we found maybe in the week between shows. And we have some obviously bad over-the-top country music playing. As Shane Helms says, he grew up in the South, but he grew up in the part of the South that's not out in the middle of nowhere. You see, he grew up in a great state like South Carolina, not some crap hole like Texas, not some crap hole full of weirdos and cowboys who think they're too big for their britches. So we're here on a ranch to show you how a real team does things. Then we sort of have a montage of actually Tomko doing all the work, putting hillbillies away, walking a horse out, milking the cows, while Helms is just sort of relaxing, flirting with a woman who looks like a typical country girl at the ranch. And then we see Shane Helms actually almost falling off a horse into a mud pit, and Tomko saving him. And then, we see a quick cut into an interview where an obviously paid actress says, oh, she knows James Storm Chris Harris, but she heard they're really close to their sisters. And after that, Shane Helms says, sorry about your damn luck, America's Wanted. In 6 days, these belts will be around the waist of men who actually deserve them, not two country boys who are too big for their britches. So they get to 99 because Shane Helms is great. And obviously, the whole idea here is AEW or AMWs are the baby faces, and Helms and Tomko don't really deserve the title shot, but they're still getting it, so there we go. But still, fun stuff, and actually a lot, I thought it was get maybe high 80s. I did not expect 99, so fun stuff. And again, it's either wrestle crap or a well-remembered angle. It's either both of those angles back to back are either Bobby Lashley getting married to Lana, or they're Rey Mysterio getting attacked by Dominic. Either great cheese or terrible cheese. And then we have another package as Stacy is as we see Kaz and Yang in sort of dojo, going wrestling with random unnamed wrestlers, Kaz plugging submissions, Yang flying around and doing martial arts kick. It was over Kaz and Yang. They're training hard because they're two of the best athletes in WCW, and they finally have the correct backing that they need to get in the top of this business. But they're also playing hard, and we cut to them, singing at a karaoke bar because Japan, drinking with sponsors in suits, and maybe if we look closer, tattoos and missing fingers, and being out with Stacy as she models at a random runway show, etc., etc. And it closes with Stacy saying over voiceover, "The era of Ninkoyo is upon you, and our legacy, you should just accept it." But again, 76, decent stuff, building up the big tag match as we move forward. And we have a big 8-man tag, and this is sort of like what you exactly expect. Like, this is 14 minutes, but it's basically like it's a wild 14 minutes right from the start. Like we open with Wright and Chavo actually doing some fun tag team moves just to remind people, hey, these guys were tag champs a while back. Like going over Divine, Jarrett, everybody. Jett gets to do his heel work. Jarrett just does some brawling with Brother Ray. Bray gets the advantage, throws Jarrett to the outside. Looks like there's going to be a table bump, but Divine does a big dive to save him. Wright, Tajiri, and Chavo get to have just a fun little tag session with Divine, Jett, and Jindrak. Like just sort of put tags in the middle. Things eventually break down, and near the end, as Ray and Jarrett are brawling up to the top, Jett nails Wright from behind with the U.S. title, and then hits a quick finisher to get the pinfall victory over the U.S. champion. 6 days before they face off at WrestleWar. As gets a 77, Chavo gets a 77, Sheer gets a 62, Brother Ray gets an 84, Alex Wright gets a 78, Mark Jindrak gets a 74, Divine gets a 72, Jeff Jarrett gets a 91, and Jason Jett gets a 66. Fun stuff, and then of course the heels celebrate with smirks to a 70 as the announcers put over the big matches, including one match that's been added by WCW officials as a big tag match. Of Chavo and Tajiri taking on Mark Jindrak and Simply Johnny Divine. And then we go basically backstage, or we basically after the match say we've gotten some news from some backstage officials, something is happening in the parking lot, and we see basically Don Frye leaving, going up to a limo that's been obviously paid for by Randy Savage. Bill Goldberg's there. Don Frye is getting ready for a brawl, but Goldberg basically waves him on and says, "I'm not here to fight. That's for in 6 days. I just want to talk to you without Savage." It's Frye. I never didn't say you're not a hell of a fighter. But the other reality is, you've been in an MMA ring. You've been in a wrestling ring for real. There's no bell to save you. No rounds. No judges. Just two men going after each other until one man falls and one man stands. Yeah, you've been in wars in MMA, but even during those wars, Frye, you had time to sit down and recover every few minutes. There's no time off in the squared circle, and you're being used by a man who can't get the revenge that he wants on his own, so he found you. Frye, nothing personal, but I'm still the man, and after WrestleWar, I still will be. And Frye just stares at him, as this gets an 86 as one final sell drop for the pay-per-view, between Goldberg and Frye. And then we go to a pre-taped sit-down interview with Scott Hudson and Rob Van Dam. Hudson puts over, Van Dam's, championship reign so far, and talks about the challenges. Then Van Dam talks about the challenges of being champion. Got long days, man. Waking up a lot earlier than I usually do, going all over, appearing on TV shows, selling those tickets, being at those pre-shows, talking to sponsors, and then also defending against all comers. Used to be I could get into a town late, wrestle, sign autographs, but then stay up late partying and be ready to go the next day. But now I gotta work hard. I gotta find every minute to train to stay on top of this game. And Hudson points out, at WrestleWar might be your biggest challenge so far, facing two former world champions that are still at the top of their game. And he says, everybody knows I've had a pass with Eddie and Kanyon so far in WCW. And despite, they may have changed their spots a little bit since the last time we faced off, but, Kanyon's still a killer, and he is still one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, even if he's being a bit of an asshole. And against those two men, I'm the champion, and I'm champion for a reason. I'm not saying it's going to be tough. But the other thing is, they say I can't be champ. I can lose my championship without being pinned. But here's the other thing. Eddie, I can defeat Kanyon right in the middle of that ring, and then you're gone. And then there's nothing you can do. And Kanyon, same thing. So yeah, you guys can kill each other, but Mr. Pay-Per-View will be here ready to fight you and take my title back home with me. Because Kanyon, Eddie, nothing personal, but I'm the world champion for a reason. Because I'm the whole effing show. And after WrestleWar, RVD will still spell champion. So there we go. 82, fun little sit-down promo, just sort of set things up. As we did, I didn't want to do a contract signing because I have something else to do. It's sort of like the loose closing angle. But this reminds people, RVD's champion. He's been champion for a while for a reason. And then we go to our main event. And I forgot to do the Revolution recap. Just pretend it happened. Ouch. Okay, so let me see here. I'm just trying to figure things out. Okay, so 76. Okay, so we had 17 points over for Kanyon. 23, 39, 35. So this should be a 82. So what hurt it here? Damn it, again, this is okay. Low heat for the O'Haire Toro. I mean, I'm somewhat surprised. Anyway, I mean, this is just your classic, like, pre pay per view tag team match, like, sort of preview. Cannon and Eddie face off. They fight. John O'Haire and Toro face off, and then we have like quick spots between O'Haire and Eddie, as Eddie actually, goes for the big brainbuster, but O'Haire gets out of it. But then Eddie, cheats to get out of the Widowmaker and hit a DDT on him. Tag back in Toro, who goes for the big roaring bull, but O'Haire tosses him around. Eventually, it's Kanyon and Toro. Kanyon actually hits the cannon cutter on Toro, but he makes the last save at the last second. Things eventually break down. O'Haire and Toro go to the outside, and back in the ring, Eddie hits a low blow on Kanyon, hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, hits the Frog Splash, and gets a pinfall 1-2-3. And Kanyon basically gets out at like 3.02, but he gets a huge win over Kanyon as the announcers put over. If RVD is out of the ring like O'Haire and Toro right now, Eddy Guerrero will be the new WCW World Champion. This gets a 76. Kanyon gets a 93. Sean gets an 82. Eddie gets a 92, and Toro gets a 72. And then O'Haire, Kanyon and Eddie are both in the ring recovering. Canyon's rolled outside. Eddie's in the ring doing anything celebrating. O'Haire and Toro are fighting to the top of the ramp. And then, of course, the Roman Legion coming down. And it looks like there's going to beat down, and O'Haire is going to get taken off the stage. And, they're setting it for the big, super bomb, triple power bomb, however you want to put it, off the stage. When RVD comes out, makes the save, basically, fights off the Roman Empire as they sort of scatter to the back, helping O'Haire up. And then he then goes down to ringside and has a stare down. First with Kanyon on the outside, and then with Eddie as eventually a three-way stare down as all three men, face off, start yelling at each other, basically, Eddie saying he's going to be the champion, he's the greatest wrestler in the world. Kanyon says it's no better than Kanyon, and RVD simply pointing himself as the crowd chants line to RVD, as the announcers put over the big main event of WrestleWar, triple threat match, world champion. One will walk out as world champion. This gets a 93. Fun stuff, and yep, that's the show. As it gets an 86. Okay, solid stuff. Unfortunately, main event was like kind of disappointing, but yeah, I'm not I guess Toro and then the low heat sort of bumped it doubly. And what can you do? Shit happens. As this loads up. Loading. It's Wano. And wow, he's old. He's 45, maybe 50, a little younger. Alright, so male-wise, let's see here. Oh yeah. Seaman stepped down his Dragon Gate Booker in game, so there you go. Okay, it's hilarious they're going after Ring of Violence and not us. Okay, anyway, so we got an 86, and overall we got a 2.08 on TBS and on. Let's see here, on Paramount. Nope. Man, they messed up their. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, they should not be getting 961,000 viewers. I'm going to have to go in mess with the broadcasters again, aren't I? God damn it. Because last week, again, if I go to here, if I just go to WWE real quick. Last week, Raw. Okay, so this week, Raw on Paramount Network got 1.28. Last week on the Paramount Network, it got a 3.20, and the only difference, yeah, I'm not seeing any difference. So something weird must happened. Yeah, Nip and Teeth. Right, okay, 1.24. 1.23, Showcase Diva, yeah, I'm going to have to see if anything weird happened with the Paramount Network, and then fix it and adjust it. Not the end of the world, but still very wacky. Anyway, sorry. God, I hate, when the... Again, not going to care that much. Heartlanders, new classics for entertainment. Okay, I guess that's not a huge shame. Sorry, I'm just looking over things. Anyway, back to Raw, which got a 92, because of course it did. Let's see here. Anything interesting? Oh, okay. Wait. Oh, right. I totally forgot that would happen. Okay. So, right. Okay. So, again, in-game, AI turned Michaels heel basically as soon as he won the title at Mania. So we have the return of Generation X in a way, feuding with Chris Benoit and Brock Lesnar. Okay. And then we had Amber James defeat Elizabeth Love, Mark Holly defeat Christy Cummings, Edge won a squash against Ron Waterman, Gage Bruce defeat Christian Bump and Grind, the Big Show defeating Regal Orton and Skyfall Caleb Linen. And in case you guys don't know who that is, Skyfall Caleb Linen is Air Paris in the semi-main of Raw, putting out a 68. Okay, I'm sure he took the fall. Very interesting that was the way they booked him, though. Anyway, and then main event, the Reformed DX, I guess, defeated Benoit and Lesnar at 100. Sure, why not? But yeah, GSQ is going to Classic Sports Entertainment as well. Interesting. So yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution, after I, do my usual stuff and also try to figure out what happened with Paramount Network. So I'll be back with you in just a moment. All right, and welcome everybody to Revolution, live from the beautiful New Orleans Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana, in front of 17,000 people, and we're starting out with an absolute brawl. As these two groups have been fighting for the last couple of minutes before we went to the air, and yeah, it's Billy Kidman, it's Sting, it's Paul London, it's Mike Awesome, it's Lance Storm, and Steven Lego, and they're fighting down to the ring, all over the ring for the first few minutes of the show. As of course, it's Sting versus Billy Kidman tonight, as set up last week. Eventually, WC officials get, both Storm, Awesome, and London and Lenko to the back, and the match is actually on. As this sort of explosive opener gets a 78, and we go to the actual match. Which, here's the thing, it's Sting Kidman. Sting is old and is on time to decline. Kidman is good, but Sting's old, like I said. So this is either like a shockingly great match or a really bad match. Like, okay, I'm going to guess right now. I'm going to guess 79. Okay. Yeah, again, that's what I expected. And this is all out. Sting giving it his all for his last match for a while, which I'll explain in a second. And Kidman, of course, being a cocky prick. Sting gets all his spots and hits Stinger Splash, even goes for the death drop early, but Kidman gets out of it. Kidman fights back, and eventually Sting even goes for the Scorpion Deathlock, but Kidman barely gets to the ropes. Sting tries to lock it back in. Kidman goes low, takes over, eventually hits a hot shot on an exposed turnbuckle, hits a Kid Crusher right in the middle of the ring, and a basically clean victory for Kidman here on Revolution to open the show, as it gets an 81. Kidman gets an 87, Sting gets a 79, but of course, it's not over yet, as, of course, Storm and Austin come in, help their Triumvirate buddy and leader, and down come London and Malenko to help, try to save Sting. It's 3-on-2, they get, thrown around, beaten down, and Kidman brings in the chair. A chair is put below Sting, head, a chair is grabbed by, of course, Kidman. He lifts it up, and concerto time on Sting, not once, not twice, but 3 times for officials finally break it up. And this is the official write-off for Sting for a while because it's a TV role, and just a big way to put off over Kidman on the last show, for WrestleWar. As this gets to 91, Sting gets to look like a star, and Kidman gets to look like a star, and there we go. Hot way to open the show. As eventually, these officials help Sting out. Sting is, taken to the back. London and Malenko with him, as the just put over, the severity situation before finally transferring to putting over that tonight. The quest for the world title shot continues as the 2 teams left over after last week's six-man, as we Monty Brown and Chuck Palumbo taking on Booker T and AJ Styles in a huge main event. As that gets to 74, as we move forward, do a quick promo backstage with Ken Anderson, as he basically talks to them into the mic and says, "Noble, you got me good. Can't deny that. You did your best, and if that was your best, well, I'm still here. You're not me being son, but I'm not your boy. You're barely older than me. Come on. I have no reason to respect you. Hell, I barely respect actual legends. What do you think I'm going to respect you, buddy? How can you do WCW? Do one thing: kick ass and get to the top. And Noble, you're in my way. And yeah, you got lots of holds, but I can take you down because I got a fight of the dog in me. I'm going to take you out in the middle of the ring. So, but hey, Jamie, if you want to go war, buddy, let's get our fatigues on and roll in the mud because I can get damn dirty. And I can go all the way in this war. So 71, decent promo from Anderson, continuing the Jamie Knoble promo. Feud, not a promo. What am I saying? I don't know. What are you saying? And then we have the official debut of the Social Scene as a tag team on Revolution, and they face off fellow babyfaces Ronnie Jonah and Lila Vivez. And this is a decent back and forth match between sort of two undercard teams. But the sort of like story put together here after, within a couple minutes, is Social Scene are an actual team. They have some double team maneuvers, they do some quick tags, and eventually they take the advantage and hit a few big series moves and get the pinfall victory over Ronnie Jonah with Annie Vidal, the former Anti-Social, and Nikki Radcliffe, the former Nikki Roxx, getting pinfall victory here in a little over 8 minutes. This gets a 50. Annie Vidal gets a 46, Nikki Radcliffe gets a 44, Lala Vivez gets a 42, and Ronnie Jonah gets a 41. Fun little undercard tag match to put over Social Scene as the new parts of the women's division, and a big win here. And then moving forward to, both teams, are facing off for a second, and then they do a handshake because, we're all good baby faces here. And then out come your Midas Union, and, Colt takes Meg and says, "It is truly pathetic that you Fraulines could be our actual competition. If you're truly competition, then these tag belts are almost worthless, and we will have to find some way to prove ourselves, because we'll not be against any of you." So there again, there's cocky heel, but above it all tag champs, and of course our precious baby faces. This gets a 51 because I rated everybody, and Colt's gimmick is getting stale, which I'll go ahead and fix after the show. Stuff. And then we have a backstage segment with, of course, Monty Brown and Chuck Palumbo, our two earnest, heels in the main event later tonight. As first we have, basically, Monty Brown saying the two best wrestlers on Revolution are here, and tonight, one more time, we're going to hook up together to take out Booker and AJ Styles and prove we're the best in the world. And a couple weeks later, Chavo Junior, you're next on our list. Chuck adds in, tonight we're going to work together to wreck you, Booker, you old man who should walk away, and wreck your little punk partner too. And Monty Brown says, I've won Super Bowl rings, and now I'm winning WCW gold. Whoever gets in front of me is going to face the Bounce. And Palumbo just sort of laughs and says, we'll see about that, Monty. But it's time for a true revolution, and for me and my old lady to lead the way. And sort of look at each other, but then do a little fist bump as, they're a united team, at least for now, to try to win the match, then to get in triple threat next week. As this gets an 86. Fun stuff. And then we have Cash defeating Sandman in 6 uncompleted level. I wish I could tell you a story. Again, in real life, AEW has a problem of sometimes matches with no stories getting kind of heatless. But here's the thing, every so often that's fine, but in real life, they do it a lot. But okay, I'm not trying to defend this. I mean, it's a way to put Cash over, and Sam is in total jobber territory at this point. Anyway, this gets to 70. It goes 6 minutes, which is honestly probably a couple minutes too long. But Cash gets to 73, Sam gets to 48. Just a straight up quasi squash. Sam gets maybe a little bit of brawling in, get the advantage, but eventually Cash takes over. It's a finisher, and that's that. And then Cash takes the mic and says, "What the hell is going on? I'm a former tag team champion. I was part of the best tag team in the business, and I was the bullywig, the man who helped stir the drink in this promotion. Now it's unpersonal. I'm facing the same man. Come on. No. I'm not going to be left behind. I'm not going to be forgotten. It's time for Cash to make an impact on Revolution." And then he walks away, sort of upset at himself, as the youngsters are understandably sort of confused. But you got to defeat people, get your way to the top. As this gets a 73. Then we cut backstage, where now Captivation of Lexi James, Angel Fox, and Lacey Dumas are in the backstage in Teddy Long's office, and they're upset that look, you had those 4 women on TV, and Captivation wasn't. You're looking at the 21st Century Fox, the hottest woman on the screen in WCW, 2 women's champions, a legendary woman who's done it all, and we're doing nothing. And Teddy Long is basically yes, you've all your accolades, but what have you done lately? You've been lost in the shuffle, getting in feuds, and then losing them. But, you're upset. Your is upset because I'm not giving you all the chances. And he says, "Leia, I got an idea, but not for this week, but come back to me next week." And the women aren't that happy about it, but then they walk away we'll be ready, Teddy. As this gets to 63, further setting up some women are upset that the other women are getting chances, and of course, limited TV time. We'll just see what happens when these all women face off. Eventually. Maybe. Who knows? And then we go backstage where, Booker and AJ are putting each other over. AJ's, more comfortable with Booker. Says, we fought, but now we're back. And Booker, you really seem to change the leaf. And Booker's like, Sucker, I know what I have to do now to get ready, to get right back to the top of this company. And happy to do it because kind side of guy who's going to be in this business for a long, long time. And, Booker Ray comes in and says, hey, no worries. I'm here, you guys are both great. And look, I hope more than anything, you guys win tonight because triple threat between all of us will be incredibly fun and fantastic. It will be a great show for the fans. But Booker adds in, only one man can walk out the winner though, Saka. And he's thanks for like smiles. And, AJ says, look, I'm ready for a fight against whoever. Tonight we're a team. And hey, maybe a week we'll be fighting each other, and that'll be great too. So everybody agrees, be friends, at least for the moment, as it gets a 92. And Booker's gimmick is ACL. Jesus, this must have been like roll stale gimmick weeks. Anyway. Great. And then we have Joanie Laurer returning back to the ring for the first time since the Japanese show. Really, first time since JC dropped the title, kind of, and had her like matches. And she says, "This is still my ring, and I'm still the next evolution of women's wrestling, no matter if I'm the champion or not. I defeated a legend in Japan, and I realized it was now time to grow my own legend and prove to everybody I am women's wrestling in WCW." Then out comes all that Alyssa Alexander, and Joanie just is sort of confused, like, "What are you doing out here?" Well, Joanie, you obviously want to fight, and I'm ready to go. So let's hook it up and see if you're truly a legend. And Joanie's sort of like, "Who are you? Like, I don't know you." And we see like Alyssa getting ready in the corner. Then as like Joanie turns around, like sort of like going to the girl, like, "Who is she?" She turns back around right into a jumping knee to the teeth from Alyssa Alexander, and the match is on. As this gets an 85. And then in a pretty good match considering Alyssa isn't that over, and they have great chemistry. So the whole point of this match is Joanie Laurer's back in the ring, but also like sort of not really downgrading her, but like putting over Alyssa Alexander. She's like pure, like she's goes right after Joanie. He's actually like kind of dominating things for the first couple minutes, and eventually like Joanie gets back on offense because she's Joanie Laurer. But like Alexander, like she isn't being squashed. Like she's not quite going 50-50, but she's going like 60-40. And against Joanie Laurer after like the run she's had in the past year or so, that's great. And like she really fights. She even hits a big sort of tornado DDT on Joanie for a near fall, but eventually Joanie does take over, hits the big powerbomb for the pinfall victory, and gets the win with the announcers really put over that, nobody would have thought that Alyssa Alexander would have put that up against Joanie Laurer. SS gets a 73. Alexander gets a 53. Joanie gets an 88. But of course, Joanie is going to do what Joanie does and goes for another powerbomb to take out Alexander. And out comes Trisha Sky to make the save, and they fight, and they brawl, and Trisha sends Joanie Laurer to the back, to the outside of the ring, and they face off as the crowd goes wild. And Trisha Sky has also come back, and looks like she's ready for a fight as well. As this gets 100, and there you go. And Trisha helps Alyssa, raises her hand as the crowd cheers, and there you go. And then we put over that's going to be a women's title match next week between Gail Kim and Celine Cartier. Since Celine won the title opportunity a few weeks back. That gets to 69. Nice. Now we have Amy Weber catching up with Trisha Sky, and basically asks, Amy Weber basically says, "I thought it was over between you two after the women's title feud. So what's going on with that?" And Trisha Sky puts over, we never really had a true one-on-one match. That's what I want, to truly prove I'm the best, so we can both move on. Plus, that kid Alyssa really proved herself to be one hell of a woman tonight, and I was going to let her become another piece of roadkill for Joanie. But hey, Joanie, one more time, sky's the limit, right? So this gets an 82 and seems to be setting up a Joanie Laurer Trisha Sky match one more time. And then we have a Nitro recap focusing, of course, on the big main event. RVD being, coming up for the save and all that fun stuff as it gets to 70. And it's time for our main event, which is okay. Great. Okay. I mean, okay. That like psychology note is actually fine because AJ in 2005, not quite the guy he was like a few years later. Booker's good, but he was never he was never Flair in the ring. And Monty Brown Chuck Palumbo, sure. Okay, so I mean, this is like not like a spotty match as like a young guy's match, but a spotty match is in like everybody's hitting their big spots that gets them over. So AJ hits, the Fosbury flop, Asai moonsault, Booker D does some brawling, hits a spinneroonie, Monty Brown goes for the pounce a lot, but eventually misses it. He hits it early, midway through the match on AJ, but Booker makes save the last second. Palumbo comes in the cheat. Raven Reign does some distraction as Palumbo takes over. Palumbo hits the oh god, what is it called? I'm blanking on the move name. Not Palumbo's Prime. The full throttle late, but on AJ, but Booker makes a save. Things break down eventually. Of course, Raven Reign throws in the chain. Palumbo wraps it around, nails Booker with it, hits his finisher. 1, 2, 3, and Monty Brown and Chuck Palumbo advance into the triple threat match against Rey Mysterio Jr. A huge victory over Booker and AJ, as this gets an 85. Really good match. AJ gets a 90, Booker gets an 87, Chuck Palumbo gets a 90, and Monty Brown gets an 84. And yeah, like psychology, it's fine, because 3 out of these, again, these two definitely, AJ is a little young, Booker wasn't never great. And of course, Monty Brown and Chuck Palumbo are celebrating when Rey Mysterio comes up to the top of the ramp, stares them down as the answer is put over. It's going to be Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Chuck Palumbo versus Monty Brown next week with a world title shot on the line as this gets an 80. So fun stuff. And then overall, the show itself gets an 90. Okay, so really good show. And again, I wouldn't say half that show was women, but 40% of that show was women. So hey, you can do it. Again, not pointing to any specific wrestling TV shows on there, but hey, you can do it if you actually have a good roster and you build them up and build stories and all that other fun stuff. Sorry, I'm being mean. I mean, I'm being mean, but also, am I wrong? Am I wrong? All right. So, Ringo Mendoza, he's probably again 45, 50 at this point. All right. So, quick note, as you saw, Raw's rating, I didn't see any change to Paramount Channel's size. So either something is wrong with the backstage up with sort of the with the setup of the setup, or it was sometimes the game the ratings just go wacky for a couple weeks and go back normal. So I'm just gonna have to hope that's what's going after. Let's see here. Carly Cologne for success, sure. Oh, Samurai listening to offers, sure. All right. Anyway, yeah, Grace Suzuki's contract is ending. I'm probably not going to resign him just because there's no point having him on TV, and also, yeah, Jerry Lynn and Okada both are they're underwritten contracts, but it will work for Indies and of course Pro and everything else. Anyway, so that's Revolution. So again, rebooking. There we go. Okay, so set up for WrestleWar. We have our main event of Eddie versus Kanyon versus RVD for the world title. Huge main event, big world title match. ANW versus Helms and Tomko for the tag titles. Brillo Ray versus Jeff Jarrett. As a advance from that, Chavo Guerrero and Tajiri versus Mark Jindrak and Simply John Devine. Don Frye versus Bill Goldberg. Any match of an MMA star versus the man. Heart Like Z versus Ninkeo has been built up for the past few weeks or month plus. Alex Wright versus Jason Jett for the US title. Title versus O'Haire versus Skipper for the Cruiserweight title. Raven versus Mesias. And O'Haire versus Tor. So a very solid, again, this main event is either going to be a 98 or it's going to do whatever main event of mine goes. Just lately it's an 86. No middle at all. A fun show, and again, But so first WWE for SmackDown, they had let's see here, Amber James beat Elizabeth Love with a 62. Shinko Davey and Cherry Slice it with a 64. JBL and Bum Grind defeated Skyfall, Caleb Lennon, and Little Fellas, which is Spike and Funaki, sure, and a 76. Gordon had a promo on Holiday defeat Christian Cummings in an 80. Undertaker defeat Scott Fick in a tables match in 90. Big Show defeat Ron Rodder in a squash in 82. And Benoit and Edge teamed up to defeat Vampiro and Kane in 99. And one interesting thing that happened is a stable was created. So here's the thing. It's called the Low Society. That's interesting. But also, let's look at the members. Shawn Michaels, okay. CM Punk, okay. Just incredible, interesting. The former Air Paris, okay, and X-Pac. So here's the thing. This is just DX. This is just DX, if they actually did DX with younger members, as sort of they should probably did at this time. So when I get a second, I'm going to go and just change this to DX because I think this is DX. I mean, you have click members and quasi click members, like just incredible. So there you go. Very interesting. Anyway, so they go back to NWA Wildside. They had let's see, I always forget. Okay, so we had TV. Okay, so they had a TV show, which I did show you guys already, I think. Yes. No. Yeah, okay, so TV show. Kenzo and Rick Michaels beat Cross and Dago. Again, Kenzo's up to a 37. Taking Rhodes to beat Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's, again, slowly getting better. Sonny Siaki to beat Adam Ortiz. Oh, I'm not even going to check this because this was out in the Mid-South, not in the Mid-South, at least where they were. So they had a big show of In-N-Out in front of 9,000 people. They had Chaz Charisma and Baker defeated Rage Inc. by DQ for the tag titles. So that's Chance Profit and Tony Jones. Profit got a 61. Tony Jones got a 43. With Rick Michaels and Sonny Siaki defeated Dagon Braids and Ryan Drago. Again, Sonny Siaki got a 60. So again, Siaki, what did I say? Chance Profit. There's some people who are like coming up to the main roster decently soon. Kent Cole, Trevor Rhodes, and Snowman defeated Adam Ortiz, Claudio, and JC Daz. Again, Claudio's getting 69s. Nice. Casurality defeated Kai Graves to retain the NWA Georgia Junior Heavyweight title on a 61. And Akabono defeated Lazarus to retain the NWA World title. So Akabono is NWA champion, and he defeated Lazarus, who does a Britney Spears gimmick as a guy in an NWA title match. Sure. Then we had a weekly house show. Honestly, not much really to point out here. Claudio and Kai teamed up again. Claudio got a 63 because he's great. But the interesting thing here is Suicidal Tendencies to be TNT and Trevor Rhodes in a match for the NWA tag titles. Suicidal Tendencies, in case you know, is Adam Jacobs and John Phoenix. Two guys who basically teamed up with AJ Styles way back at the beginning of his career. And they never did much, I think, because of like personal stuff. But yeah. But this is interesting because TNT had held the tag titles this time around since December of 2004. And previously they held the titles from July 2004 to September 2004. And before that, for a long time. From August 2003 to February 2004. So, this is sort of a big match and a big victory for that team. Even though they're not signed to Fed at all. Anyway. Then we have our women's Fed. So, that we had Tracy Chiller and Madison Eagles defeat Annette Blatchard, who's a regen who I signed because they came for our power plant in ODB in a 32. And yeah, Annette's at a 16. I haven't found a picture for her yet. Madison Clare defeated Amazing Kong in a 44. Madison Clare is a 46. Amazing Kong, though, is already at 40. Becky Bayless defeated Cindy Rogers at a 46. Rogers got a 48. Bayless got a 43. Mischief, Tracy Brooks, and Olivia Osaka defeated Allison Danger, Ariel, Mitchell, Cool in a 61. So, yeah. And Kim Nielsen defeated Miss Molly. So, there you go. Nothing really it's just going along. Nothing too huge there. So, again, HWA. They had a weekly show. Keanu Ronner versus Silas Young was the match that happened. Onyx defeated, so yeah, for me, Fabiola, who's a Indian guy. The regen is up to a 30, so I mean, yeah, I don't know how long he'll hang around there. Yeah, not really much going on. HAPUA, OVW. The Samoans are now a team, so it's ECMO and Chemo. They defeated Rory Fox and Sean Casey, two very 90s looking guys in 2005. Capital and Shark Boy defeated Shaggy to Chris Haas. Let's see here. Shantia Tiller won a match again. Joey Ryan defeated Isaiah. Bradley Computer retained the tag titles. Joey Matthews retained the OVW heavyweight title. And on Saturday, Shaggy versus John Cena happened again. Chuck Taylor defeated John Morrison. Interesting. Yeah, Again, they're a lot of the guys I was really following for both the dev heads are sort of either gone or up in the main roster, so be interesting to do some booking. But that's not it for the wrestling world, at least this time around. So a whole bunch of companies had some big shows. So let me just go over them. So All Japan had Flames Clean Souls 2005. So things that would be interesting for you guys. Okay. Oh wait, I totally showed this guys to you, didn't I? I think no, I didn't. Okay, I think I just showed it to myself, maybe. Anyway. Shane Hagedorn defeated Go Shiozaki. Yes, Shane Hagedorn, the ROH guy, defeated Go Shiozaki, who's still a young boy, on the opening match. Let's see, anything else of note that you guys would care about? Ishii defeating Harai. Mark Barton, aka Bart Gunn, won a match, defeated Yami. Yoji Anjo defeated Nunzio. And yes, in case you were wondering, Nunzio would be part of the Roman Empire if he was not in a Roman contract. Teo Kai and Hiroshi Hase defeated Kimura and Suwama in a 63. That's some very All Japan mid 2000s booking. Kawada defeated George Hines in a 76. Feel bad for Kawada at this point. And Taiki Omori defeated Kurt Hennig to retain the Triple Crown title in a 63. Okay, so I think I want to show you guys. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. CMLL had their Anniversario de Arena Mexico. This is not the Anniversario show. This is the Anniversario Arena Mexico. As far as like big matches, Los Guerreros del Inferno, which is Rey Guerrero for Archangel and Bestia Salvia in a 78. Dr. Michael Jr. and defeated Black Warrior and Octagon in a triple threat match in an 86. Negro Casas and Las Vipers defeated Astro Boy and Los Brazos. So Abismo Negro, Electroshock, and Negro Casas defeated Brazo at Oro, de Brazo Plata, and Mystico. And in the main event, Lover defeated Shocker in an 88. I think that's it. La Parca was in a match on the undercard in a 79. Yeah, really nothing out really of note. And I think there's one more thing. I think FWA had a interesting show. I thought there was something on the card I wanted to show you guys that was interesting, but no. Okay, guess not. Gaia had a big show, main event by Kyoko Onoe and Kyoko Onoe. So half of the team that was going for the women's tag titles defeated Miku Satomura and Momonaka Shishi. That's 75. I really felt there was one more big show I wanted to show you guys. And now I'm just going to... Oh, right. Pro Wrestling Kingdom had another show. This was the Anoki style show. And yeah. Big thing is Nakamura's part of it. He lost. And Nakamura continues to sort of be lost in the waste of... Like, yeah, he's not... It's weird. Let's see here. Noah. Oh, Noah. Right. Okay, Noah had a huge show. Okay. So, matches you guys would care about. Kansei Yusa, who I don't know who that is, defeated Norman Smiley away from WCW. Let's see here. Samoa Joe defeated Tomoe Honda. If you wonder where Samoa Joe is not on a roster, there you go. Featured attraction, which is Kenta and Kikuchi defeated Kishin Kawabata and Steve Blackman to retain the junior heavyweight titles in 72. Marufuji and Terisuto defeated Mr. Gansuki and Ricky Furuki to retain the tag titles. Akira Toye and Ricky Marvin defeated Shane Douglas and Tayu Isuda in 71. And then we had two big matches. Misawa defeated Takayama in 87, and Akiyama defeated Ogawa in 97. There you go. And then, just so you guys also know, so Women's Wrestling Super Girls, it's a company, had their 6 monthly show. Big Lexi Fife versus Maruki Yoshida was a big match. Let's see here. Roy Lee and Fabio Facci defeated multiple heroes of Heather Savage and Mickey Knuckles. Sarah Del Rey had a match. And he was Velez, who was wrestling this early, I guess. And main event, Daphne defeated Simply Luscious. So there you go. They're sort of the quasi-shimmer, I guess, at this point. And, of course, also, Ring of Honor, now Ring of Violence, because Rob Feinstein and Rob Black had Up in Flames, was main evented by Icarus versus Cloudy. So, yeah. That happens when Samoa Joe is in Japan. Grant Nelson is also in Japan, even though I think he's currently unemployed, or at least working for the Indies. And AJ Styles has a WCW contract. And, yeah, there you go. But it's interesting who they're pushing without the big Ring of Honor. Because, like, in this version of reality, like, the Indies never really have become a thing yet because there's been no need to, because WCW was here. Anyway, that's me. That's me rambling, which means it's probably time to stop. But hey, again, sorry I was out for the last little bit. Again, not a huge thing. Hopefully next week we'll go back our regular schedule of course, today, Friday, we'll have WCW up. Monday should have WrestleWar up. Then Wednesday we'll have Ring of Honor 2022. Friday we'll be back on the new cycle for WCW, and then move on so far and all that fun stuff. But that's for now. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a like, comment below on our liking and not liking, and of course, subscribe to our channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content, including this series, Ring of Honor 2022, and New Japan 2004. But that's for now. Talk later. Hope this new mic worked well, and adios.